Dear friends, this week we read the Torah portion of Pinchas, one of the most fascinating portions. It has many fascinating parts to it, related to Israel, inheriting Israel, how the process worked, related to inheritance in general, the story with Slavchad's daughters, fascinating one after another. But I want to dwell on this week, and I think a very pertinent message for all of us, is the paradigm of leadership. The name of the Torah portion is Pinchas. Who was Pinchas? Pinchas was the grandson of Aaron the Kohen. When Aaron and his sons were appointed to be the priests, he was skipped over because it was only given to Aaron and his sons and future children who will be born. Pinchas was born already. He lost out. He was almost like an outcast. Pinchas did one act which elevated him to a new height, where he now became the center point of leadership, the center point of the ideal Jew, the one who God praises for restoring his honor amongst the people after many Jews followed the promiscuous actions and behavior with the Midianite and Moabite women, and then to idol worship. And by taking the law in his hands, the law which is clearly stated, and publicly putting himself on the line, he stopped the plague and the anarchy that was happening there. And by doing that, God immediately rewarded him with the same merit of serving the Jewish people as a Kohen that his father, uncles, and grandfather were given, bequeathed as a gift. And the only one who ever earned the position of a Kohen was Pinchas. And then he was immediately tasked to lead the battle against Midian, to destroy the people who try to create strife and bring down the Jews. Pinchas became the center of the Jewish people. Contrast this with another event in this week's Parsha, when Moshe turns to Hashem and says, God, you're talking about the Jewish people inheriting the land, how it will work. I know I'm not going into Israel. It's time to talk about my successor. Which of my children, my oldest, my youngest, who's going to be my successor? Let's make a plan so it can work seamlessly and in the best way. And Hashem says, no, Moshe, I'm sorry. Your children will not be your successors. Yehoshua, Joshua, the person who dedicated his life to be at your side, to watch your every action, to learn from you, not only when you had to teach a class, but from every part of your behavior. He learned about leadership. He learned about dealing with people. He learned about every part of the Torah because he heard every question brought to you. He will be the future leader, not your children. And as we know, even in Judaism, children are the first ones that inherit positions from their parents, kings, rabbis, rabbinical positions, and other positions of leadership were passed down parent to child. But here in the first scenario of leadership, in the same time that we see that Pinchas, who is left out, all of a sudden came into a leadership position, while Moshe, who dedicated his entire life to God and the Jewish people, his children did not inherit it. And here we see something very important for all of us. The Rebbe, when he became Rebbe, he made a statement in Yiddish, don't put any birds in your jacket pockets, meaning don't think you have it all, you can just sit back and everything will be done for you. We have to roll up our sleeves and all make things happen. And this is the true paradigm of leadership that Judaism encourages and that Judaism points out is the way it will happen. That anyone can step up through their behavior, through their dedication, through doing things that are not popular but have to be done, and become a leader. Can step into a leadership position by one act like Pinchas. Can become that person that becomes the symbol of what the ideal Jew is. The inspiration of how we should live our lives. While Moshe's children, thinking that just because Moshe is the leader automatically will pass on to them, it did not. Because every one of us has to step into our own self-identity. We come from a great history. We come from great lineage. And that is the reason that we are who we are. But every one of us has to become our own Jew. Every one of us has to become and step into their own relationship with God. It's not just inherited. We inherit, and therefore we can build our own based on that. We appreciate where we come from. We appreciate the inheritance that we have of Torah, of the lineage that we have, the sacrifices that our parents, grandparents up to Abraham made. But all those sacrifices were made so that you in your moment, you in your mature years and adult years, will step in and create your own link in the chain, your own relationship with God that stands out as your own. Let's be Pinchases and not expect just because we're Moshe's children it's going to happen automatically. Every one of us is a Pinchas. It says that Pinchas is Eliyahu. Eliyahu is the prophet that will usher in Mashiach. What is the connection between Pinchas and Eliyahu? They were both zealots and they were both really put their lives on the line to stand up for God's honor, related to idol worship at different times. But more importantly, Eliyahu will be the one who will turn the tide and begin the change of the world, which Mashiach will bring of a perfect world. That comes through Pinchas. Through Pinchases, every little Pinchas, taking the stand of a Jew and as a Jew, and withstanding temptations, challenges, and difficulties, and withstanding being ridiculed by those around you for just standing out and for being different and for looking as you're too devoted. Cool down. Don't be so devoted. Be devoted, but don't overdo it. Don't overheat your engine. When we step into those acts and those behaviors with conviction, with strength, with pride, standing tall, we all become the Pinchases, the leaders of the Jewish people, that the Jewish people need so much, that Eliyahu Hanavi comes from this to bring Mashiach. So may God bless you all. We love you all. Shabbat Shalom. Candlelight time in Montreal is 8:28 p.m.